My ex cheated, took my dog, and moved in with her new man, so I got full custody of the dog and sued her for pet theft. I'm a 29-year-old guy, and I used to think my girlfriend and I had the perfect life. We weren't flashy. We didn't post couple selfies every weekend or throw big parties, but we had a rhythm, a soft, quiet kind of love that felt real. We'd been living together for just over 3 years in a small 2-bedroom apartment downtown, the kind where the walls hum when the neighbors vacuum, and the faucet always leaks just a little no matter how tight you twist it. But I didn't care, 'cause she was there, and so was Max, our dog. Well, technically my dog. I adopted Max from a local shelter 6 months into our relationship. He was a shaggy little thing, all ribs and nerves, but something in his eyes latched on to me that day. I brought him home, and she fell in love with him almost as fast as I did. We took turns walking him, vet appointments, grooming. She started calling him our baby, and I didn't correct her. It felt right. Like we were building something, a home, a team. She'd say that sometimes. We're a team, babe, especially during rough patches. When money got tight or work got stressful, she'd lean into me and say those 3 words like a promise. And I needed that. I've always struggled with anxiety. Not the cute kind either. The kind that keeps you up at 3 a.m. wondering if you forgot to lock the door, even though you checked it 10 times. Max helped with that. Just having him curled at my feet made my brain stop spinning for a while. For a long time, I thought we were solid. But I started noticing it in the little things first. The way she stopped waiting up for me when I worked late. The way her team language faded into I and me. How her smile looked more polite than warm when I kissed her goodbye in the mornings. Something shifted, and I didn't know it then. But that shift was about to crack my entire world wide open. At first, I told myself it was just work stress. She'd started a new position in marketing a few months back, longer hours, new team, lots of networking events after work. That's what she called them anyway. Networking, happy hours, strategy dinners. Whatever the word, it meant coming home later and later, sometimes tipsy, always tired. But something shifted in her face when she looked at me. Not angry, not annoyed, just distant. Like she was still here physically, but her mind had already started living somewhere else. With someone else. She started guarding her phone like it was a loaded gun. It was always face down, always on silent. And if I so much as glanced toward it when it buzzed, she'd suddenly scoop it up and walk to another room. Or the bathroom, like that was normal. Like couples don't casually show each other memes or pass their phones around while watching Netflix. I tried to ignore it. I really did. Told myself she deserved privacy, that she was probably just decompressing in her own way, that maybe I was just being insecure again. But my gut was screaming. What really got to me was how she started clinging to Max more than she clung to me. She'd sit on the floor and pull him into her chest, running her fingers through his fur with this quiet intensity, like he was the only safe space she had. Then she'd get up and walk right past me like I was a stranger. No kiss. No, how was your day? Not even eye contact. Then came the cologne night. She came home past midnight, her hair wild, her eyes glassy, and her hoodie drenched in a scent I didn't recognize. Sharp, spicy, masculine. Definitely not mine. When I asked if she was okay, she brushed past me, muttering something about being tired and needing a shower. I didn't press her, but after that night, I started watching more carefully. Patterns, gaps, lies she didn't even realize she was telling, because something was unraveling, and I was about to find the first loose thread. It happened on a Tuesday night. She was in the shower, humming to herself like nothing in the world was wrong. Her phone lit up on the kitchen counter, just once, but I saw the name. Kara Yoga. We don't know anyone named Kara. and she hadn't done yoga in over a year. My heart pounded so loud I thought it might shatter the windows.
I shouldn't have looked. I know that.
But I did, and what I found
Wasn't flirting.
it wasn't even romantic, it was vulgar. The kind of text you don't send unless you've been deep in someone else's bed for a while. Graphic descriptions of what they did last weekend. Nicknames I'd never heard before. Photos, nudes, hers, his. Some that looked like they were taken in a car I didn't recognize, and some that looked a lot like the couch I'd saved up for. I felt like I was choking, like my throat had closed up around a scream I couldn't let out. She came out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel, hair dripping. I didn't yell.
I didn't throw her phone.
I just held it out to her with the thread open. She blinked once,
Then twice, and then she shrugged.
we were basically done anyway, she said, like she was ordering takeout. No tears, no apologies. Just that icy detachment I'd been feeling for months, finally showing its true face. I asked her how long it had been going on. She didn't flinch. Few months, maybe longer. Then she said the one thing that gutted me harder than the betrayal. I'm moving out. I didn't stop her. I couldn't. I just sat on the floor next to Max while she packed a single bag. But when she left, she took him. Max, she looked me in the eye and said, "He needs stability. You're a mess right now." And then she walked out the door, with my best friend in her arms. 2 days after she told me she was moving out, I came home from work to silence. The apartment was too quiet.
No jingling collar.
No toenails clicking on the hardwood.
No Max running up to greet me like he always did, tail whipping like a windshield wiper on high. I called out his name once, then again, louder. Nothing. That's when I saw it. The empty leash hook.
His food bowl's gone. His bed missing. And on the kitchen table, the note, "Don't make this harder than it has to be."
He needs stability. I froze. I didn't even sit down.
Just stood there like the floor might open up and swallow me.
I called her, hands shaking.
She answered like she'd been waiting for it. "He's with me," she said, calm, cold. "He's our dog, remember?"
I tried to argue, but she cut me off.
Said she'd already changed the vet info, updated the microchip contact, and told the apartment complex she was taking her pet with her. "I don't want to fight," she said. "You're clearly going through it, and Max needs someone stable. Don't try anything legal. He's safe."
Let it go, let it go. That phrase hit me like a truck.
Like Max was some shirt I'd left at her place after a breakup. Not a living, breathing soul who slept beside me every night for 3 years, who licked my face when I was crying, who curled up in my hoodie when storms got bad. He wasn't a thing. He was my family, and she'd stolen him like it was nothing.
No warning, no discussion.
Just ripped the most important part of my life out from under me while I was sitting in a work meeting, clueless. I collapsed on the couch that night, Max's old chew toy still under the cushion. I held it like it was him. And that's when I realized I wasn't just heartbroken, I was robbed. I didn't sleep for days after she took Max. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined him curled up on her cold floor, confused, waiting for me to come home. Or worse, bonding with him, the guy she cheated with. That thought made me physically ill. I knew I shouldn't look, but I had to, so I made a burner Instagram. Blank profile, no followers, generic name. Took me all of 2 minutes to find her public page, and there they were. Photos, her, grinning ear to ear.
Him, smug behind designer sunglasses, and Max, right in the middle of them.
Tucked into her arms like a trophy. The caption read, "Sunday hike with our baby." Our baby? I felt my jaw clench so tight I thought my teeth might crack. That dog wasn't her baby.
He was mine.
She didn't even want a dog when I brought him home. She said the fur would mess up the couch. Now she was posting him like some prize she'd won by cheating. Then I saw the story. It was night, some rooftop party. People dancing, drinks everywhere, music blaring. And Max, he was in the corner, shaking. his whole body trembling like a leaf in a storm. Fireworks exploded in the background, loud, relentless. Max cowered under a patio chair, ears pinned back, tail tucked so far he looked paralyzed. He hates fireworks.
I know that.
On the 4th of July, I used to sit in the bathtub with him, holding his ears and whispering until it was over. She knew that too, and she still took him there. That wasn't neglect.
That was cruelty disguised as love. My chest tightened. I felt sick, angry, helpless, all at once.
But something shifted in that moment. This wasn't just a breakup. This was a custody battle I never agreed to. And if she wanted a fight, she was going to get one. I don't know what triggered it exactly. Maybe it was the video of Max trembling under fireworks, or the way she paraded him around like a trophy on social media, but something inside me snapped. Grief turned into fury, and I did what I always do when I'm desperate. I researched. I started Googling phrases like pet custody after breakup.
Can an ex take your dog? Dog ownership laws my state. I didn't expect much.
I assumed pets were treated like shared property, like a couch or a blender, things that just get divvied up or forgotten. But what I found shocked me. In my state, pets are legally classified as personal property, and in custody disputes, ownership usually goes to the person who can prove financial responsibility, whoever adopted, licensed, chipped, or paid vet bills. Basically, whoever the dog is legally registered under. And Max, he was registered under me. The adoption certificate had only my name. The microchip was linked to my number. I'd paid for every vet visit, every vaccine, even his training sessions. I kept every receipt because I'm the kind of guy who alphabetizes his email folders. For once, my overthinking paid off. I called a local attorney who specialized in civil cases.
Told her everything.
My voice cracked a few times. I felt like an idiot crying over a dog. But she didn't laugh. After I explained the situation, she was quiet for a beat. Then she said, "You might have a case, but it won't be pretty. Judges don't always take pet disputes seriously, especially if it looks emotional. We'll need receipts, registration, photos, even witness testimony." I asked, "Can I get him back?" She replied, "If we play this right, you can do more than that." That night, I printed out every vet bill, adoption form, and time-stamped photo I could find. My living room floor turned into a war room. Papers, envelopes,
screenshots. Because this wasn't just about proving she stole from me. It was about proving Max deserved better. And I wasn't backing down. I didn't want it to go to court. Not because I doubted my case,
but because I didn't want Max dragged through some cold legal system like a tennis racket in a divorce. So when my lawyer suggested mediation as a first step, I agreed. I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd show up human. But the woman who walked into that conference room wasn't the girl I once lived with. She strolled in like she was stepping onto a talk show stage. Perfect makeup, fake smile, sunglasses she didn't take off until she sat down. She didn't even say hi. She looked at me like I was a nuisance, like I was wasting her time. The mediator welcomed us, tried to set a respectful tone. But the moment she asked why we were here, my ex leaned back in her chair, crossed her arms and said, "Because he's obsessed. He's unstable.
And he's trying to use a dog to stay in my life." My jaw clenched so tight I thought I'd crack a molar. She kept going.
Said Max preferred her. Said I was too anxious, too emotionally dependent. Said I was weaponizing a dog to feel in control. The words were rehearsed, clinical, like she'd read a list of phrases that would make me look unhinged. And the worst part? She didn't flinch once. The mediator nodded politely, but even she looked uncomfortable. She tried to redirect, asked if we could focus on what was best for the animal. That's when he showed up. Her boyfriend, the other guy, walked in late like he was crashing a party, sat beside her and smirked like he'd just won something. Then he said it. "It's just a dog, bro."
Move on? Something cracked inside me. I didn't yell. I didn't cry, but my hands were shaking under the table.
Because Max wasn't just a dog. He was the only thing in my life that had ever loved me without condition, and now I knew. This wasn't about closure. This was about taking back what was mine. The day after mediation, I walked into my attorney's office and said 6 words I never imagined saying out loud. Let's file the damn lawsuit. No more begging. No more hoping she'd do the right thing.
I was done playing nice. We filed a formal complaint for conversion. That's the legal term.
In simpler words, pet theft. The court recognized animals as property, and I had every shred of documentation to prove Max legally belonged to me. My lawyer moved fast. She pulled up every invoice, Max's adoption fee, vaccination records, licensing, microchip registration, training sessions, all of it in my name. We even printed screenshots of my Venmo history showing payments for grooming, food, and doggy daycare. But the kicker? We submitted video evidence. Clips of Max responding only to my voice commands. Sit, paw, go home. His ears perked up when I spoke. He tilted his head when I said his name. We burned it all to a USB and labeled it proof of bond. Meanwhile, my ex must have caught wind of the lawsuit because her Instagram flipped overnight. Suddenly she was posting inspirational quotes, tearful captions, and photos of Max with hashtags like "We are healing" and "Dabben new beginnings." She even posted a picture of her crying with Max in her lap. The caption reading, "When your ex uses the legal system to stay close to you, I wanted to scream. Instead, I printed it out. My lawyer slid it into our growing file of evidence. This is gold," she said, because now it wasn't just emotional, it was public. 2 weeks later, I received the official court summons, date, time, case number. My hands trembled holding the paper, but not from fear, from power. I wasn't chasing her anymore.
I wasn't begging. This time, I was bringing the fight to her. And Max?
He'd finally have a voice, through me. The judge granted us 1 supervised visitation, just 1. It was meant to assess the emotional connection between owner and animal, but to me, it felt like a trial run for heartbreak. The meeting took place in a neutral space, a local pet facility with glass walls, squeaky clean floors, and a staff member watching like a hawk from the corner. I sat on the bench,
heart thudding like a war drum in my chest. Then the door opened, and Max came in on a leash. The moment his eyes found mine,
he froze. Then he launched, tail whipping like a metronome, paws skidding across the slick floor, whining so loud it echoed.
He jumped into my lap like he was trying to melt into me, burying his face in my chest and making those little huffing sounds he always did when he was overexcited. It wasn't just joy.
It was recognition. He knew me. He missed me. I held him so tight I thought my arms would give out. He licked my face like he was trying to erase every day we'd been apart. The handler gave us 30 minutes. We played. We sat. I whispered to him over and over, "I'm trying, buddy.
I'm coming for you." But then it was time. She came in to take him back. Max didn't budge. She called his name, tugged the leash, snapped her fingers, but he clung to me.
Clawed at my shirt, whined. When they finally pulled him off, he howled, this deep, broken sound I'd never heard before, like his heart was cracking open in real time. I stood in the parking lot after, hands shaking, eyes burning, watching her car disappear with him in the back seat. His face pressed against the window. That's when I broke, dropped to my knees in the middle of that damn lot and sobbed like a child. Like a man stripped of everything, but in that pain, something hardened. This wasn't just a case anymore. This was a rescue mission, and I was going to finish what I started. The courtroom smelled like old paper and tension. I sat stiff in my chair, suit freshly pressed, hands gripping a folder thick with every piece of my life with Max. Across from me sat her, flanked by her lawyer and that smug boyfriend, legs spread wide like he owned the place. When it was her turn, she didn't miss a beat. She painted me as a bitter, obsessive ex, said I was using the legal system to punish her for moving on, that I was emotionally unstable, that I couldn't let go, and that this entire lawsuit was about control.
Not love. She even teared up at one point, dabbing her eyes while saying,
I just want peace for Max. He's happier now. He's part of our family. But then it was our turn. My attorney stood calmly, walked to the evidence table, and began laying it all out. The adoption certificate, my name, no one else's, vet records, grooming bills, licensing, training logs, all linked to my address, my credit card. Then came the texts. We'd printed screenshots, time-stamped and dated. One in particular, we highlighted in red. I took Max. He needs to be with someone stable. There it was, in her own words. The courtroom got quiet. But the moment that changed, everything came next. We played a video, recorded by a neighbor. It showed Max at one of her parties, shoved under a deck chair, trembling. Her new boyfriend yelled something off camera, angry, loud, and Max flinched so hard he nearly fell over. The audio echoed through the courtroom. I watched the judge's expression change, jaw tight,
eyes narrowing. That was the moment the tide turned. You could feel it in the room. A shift.
a pulse of realization that this wasn't just about bitterness or exes fighting over a pet. This was about neglect. The judge leaned forward, fingers steepled, and I knew. Max's voice was finally being heard. The verdict came faster than I expected. The judge didn't sugarcoat it. She looked straight at my ex and said, "You had no legal right to remove the animal without the consent of the rightful owner. This court awards full custody of the dog, Max, to the plaintiff." Just like that. It was over. No drawn-out debates. No further questioning. No more twisted half-truths from her corner of the room. Max was mine, legally, undeniably, irrevocably. The judge continued, stating that the defendant, my ex, was also responsible for reimbursing a portion of my legal fees. Something about malicious intent and misrepresentation of ownership. But honestly,
I barely heard the rest because I was still staring at the words, full custody. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat.
I just felt this release inside me, like someone had cut open a cage I'd been locked in for months. For the first time since she walked out that door with Max in her arms, I could breathe again. The bailiff handed me Max's paperwork. My attorney squeezed my shoulder and whispered, "You did it." And then, there he was. They brought Max in one final time, and he bounded toward me like the courtroom didn't exist. His tail slapped my leg like a metronome, and he whined this soft, broken sound like he didn't quite believe it was real. I dropped to my knees and held him, right there, in the middle of that cold, sterile room. No leash.
No supervision. No glass between us, just me and Max. As we walked out of the courthouse, his head rested on my shoulder, his breath warm against my neck.
I didn't feel victorious in the way people talk about on TV. I felt free. This wasn't about revenge. It was about finally standing up for myself, for the years I spent minimizing my worth, and for Max, the one soul who never needed me to prove I deserved love. And now we were going home. Together. It's been 6 months since that courtroom door closed behind us. Max is different now, calmer, softer around the eyes. He doesn't flinch at loud sounds the way he used to.
No more pacing during storms, no more curling up in corners like he's bracing for something.
These days, he sleeps curled beside me like he used to, one paw draped over my arm like he's the one protecting me. Some nights, I wake up just to watch him breathe.
That's how deep the gratitude goes, as for me.
I'm learning to rebuild from the inside out. I started therapy a month after the trial. I didn't go in to talk about her, but she still showed up in every session, her voice, her silence, her way of making me feel like I was always too much or not enough. My therapist said something early on that stuck with me. You fought so hard for Max. When will you fight that hard for yourself? That hit harder than I expected. I stopped stalking her socials, deleted the burner account, blocked her number. Not out of anger, but because every time I looked back, I'd lost a little more of myself, and I've started dating again. Not much, just coffee here, a walk there.
Nothing serious. But I'm more careful now, slower. I don't ignore red flags anymore. I trust my gut. I still have Max. That part never changes. And sometimes, when he looks up at me with those warm, trusting eyes, I feel like he knows.
Like he remembers the chaos, the confusion, and the moment I walked into that courtroom and refused to let him be anyone's bargaining chip. She took everything, my relationship.
My peace, my best friend, but I got him back. And in the process, I found me again. This time, I'm not losing either of us.